What is going on, everybody? Today, I'm going to be sharing with you guys a very personal story that had a very huge impact on my life. To this day, I am forever changed by this event that took place. I tripped shrooms, and I tripped too many. Today I'm going to share with you guys what can go wrong if you do too many shrooms. Now here's the thing. I am not for nor against the usage of psychedelics, but I do feel that they should be something in which they are legalized and they are monitored and people are educated on them. Because if people, which they will, get their hands on psychedelics and use them, especially from an uneducated standpoint, things can go wrong. I know from experience. Now, they can also go very right. So I'm gonna take you guys through this journey that I took a couple years back. This is a while ago. And I never spoke on it because I was afraid of, jobs and this and that, what are people gonna think? But I think I'll be doing the world a disservice by not sharing this story. So I've always been a person that has been a student of consciousness. I've always been interested in how the mind works, how thoughts work, how energy works. Why do I think the things I think? Why are my dreams the way they are? What is this thing called life? And so I've always been a seeker of answers. And I remember in psychology class reading about psychedelics. I remember watching documentaries in the past on psychedelics and the experiences people would have. I was interested in that. I was interested in seeing how the psychedelic, how psilocybin mushrooms would alter my perception and what kind of, lessons I could extract from that kind of experience. And so before the time that I did them, about 2 years ago, I did them once before. And it was a very, very profound experience. It was very enlightening. I did 3.5 grams. I took 3.5 grams of psilocybin mushrooms, and it was a very enlightening experience. It connected me to the earth in a way in which I was never connected. The best way I can describe it is I no longer felt like a human being interacting with the earth, but instead I knew myself as a spirit in a human vessel interacting with the earth. And so when you add that third layer to it, perception begins to shift and you see things for what they really are. Because if you can acknowledge the spirit within yourself, you can begin to acknowledge the spirit in so many other things in life. Animals then took a different view in my mind. Trees, oh my gosh, the first time interacting with a tree whilst tripping shrooms was profound. I had no idea there was so much life force coursing through trees. Same thing with the grass and the sky. I mean, it really connected with me with nature in a way that I have never been connected with nature. It opened up my mind tremendously. There was all of these great philosophies and thoughts that were lying around my mind that I had never put together. But in a sense, the shrooms connected all those things that were laying around in my brain, and I saw patterns reoccurring all throughout life in a way I never saw before. It opened my mind and my eyes to things that I just previously never noticed. The second time tripping shrooms, I decided to up my dosage, right? And I took 5 grams of shrooms. Woo! The first couple hours of the trip was awesome. Excellent, amazing. I learned so much. There was a moment in which I remember sitting down. I was with my friends, so it was like 6 of us. I was the only person tripping shrooms. Everybody else had LSD. But I was sitting down on the floor and I closed my eyes and I began to meditate. And instantly, as I closed my eyes, it's like another pair of eyes opened. And I saw other people walking around me. I even felt their presence as they were walking by me. Like my depth perception was off. And when I would open my eyes, I was like, damn, where did I just go? So in a sense, the way I interpreted that was my third eye was blasted wide open. And not only when I close my eyes did I see things that I previously never could see, but I also saw energy coursing along the house. I saw auras. I saw on my friend's floor, there was this orange energy just sliding across the floor. And I then became aware that of all the things that were going on around us that, our regular day-to-day perception is just not able to access. There's all these other light rays and energies and vibrations that our senses just can't pick up on. But when you alter your consciousness in that way, now all your senses are interacting with the world in a different way. And so I learned so much about the universe and what's going on here. On a regular day-to-day level, your sensitivity level may be at, like, let's go ahead and give it a number rating. Let's say your sensitivity level is at a 10. Well, when engaging in while ascending in your trip, while as the trip gets more intense, your sensitivity levels begin to grow and ascend to staggering numbers. I mean, like, my sensitivity levels on this trip multiplied by 20. And so with that being said, music, oh my gosh, music. You feel music in a way you've never felt it before. You hear it in a way you never felt before. If there's any kind of negative energy hidden in the music or just maybe not hidden, maybe it's just all throughout the music, you feel that shit. You feel it and you don't like it. It is not something that you want around you. Just a zero tolerance for it, and same thing with beautiful sounds that, beautiful music. Oh man, you feel that as well. So your sensitivity levels are engaged. Other people's auras, when you're in other people's auric fields and you're near other people, you feel that a lot more. So if someone's a good person, you can feel that right away. If someone has some hurt in their heart, you feel that right away. If someone has some bad intentions lingering in their mind or in their body, you feel that as well. Your psychic nature is really, aggravated while on these trips. You really tap into your psychic nature, and so this is where the trip went wrong. So, at the highest point in my trip, this song comes on, right? And it's just, I think it's a song about Post Malone or something, and it's like, don't wanna die young, die young. I don't know. I'll find it and play it for you guys, or maybe I'll just leave a link because I don't know if the video will allow me to put that in there. But this song came on, man, and when this song came on, the feelings that I got from it were so intense. I had never ever really truly thought and felt mortality. I never really internalized the thought of death and mortality until this song came on, especially when I'm so sensitive from my psychedelic experience. And so this song sent me on a trip. I mean, it sent me on a trip, dog. It sent me on a really intense trip. And I remember perceiving the world. I remember perceiving everyone around me dying. Like literally as if I was in a dream. All my friends that were around me were conking out and dying. And I'm standing there like, and I'm thinking in my head, oh God, it's the rapture. Oh, it's Armageddon. Oh man, it's World War IV or something like that. World War III. In my head, I'm thinking like, holy crap, the world is ending and I'm dying right now. I'm about to die, And I remember like thinking that my lungs and heart was stopping, and I'm like, and I was like fighting to stay alive, and I was fine, but my perception was so turned that I was dying in my head. And so then I black out, and all the rest of the night I black out, I would come to. I blacked out, I would come to. Some of my past demons, things that bothered me from childhood, things that I've done wrong in my life, mistakes I've made, or when people have done wrong to me, and those things were subconsciously affecting me, it brought that to my attention, and it freaked me out, man. All my demons, all the things that they reared their ugly heads, and it freaked me out. And man, I can just go on a whole rant. But so you can expect on a trip that it's possible that your demons will be shown to you. But the beautiful thing about that is, once they're shown to you and you're holding them in your hand, you can now let them go. So I deeply internalized my demons and reflected upon them and let them go. And so now, to this day, I am not plagued by past events the way I was. I also, you also perceive beauty in this new way. So don't be discouraged by it, but that can happen. If you have some demons in you, those will get exercised, at some point. Maybe not in this trip, maybe, but it's possible, so, but it's a good thing. It's like a detoxification. I remember time being something that I couldn't even grasp. Time was this thing that was non-existent. We all conceptually right now understand like, oh, time isn't a thing. Like, we all conceptually understand that there's no past, there's no future, time is relative. We understand that conceptually, but engulfed in that experience, I then experienced time as relative. And there was, a fragment of time in which I was experiencing loop. I felt like I was in limbo. Time was just weird for a while. And I ended up like blacking out from there. At one point, my friend's foosball table is standing there. I'm like blacked out, and then I wake up and I look down at the foosball table and I flip the foosball table, and that's all I remember. I remember blacking out after that again. I remember waking back up and I'm looking in the mirror, and I'm looking at myself, and I'm freaked out by myself. All of my insecurities while looking in the mirror was shown to me, and it freaked me out. But after that, I then perceived myself to be in a dream. So I went through all these things in this dream, in this trip, and then it came to a point where I believed wholeheartedly that I was in a lucid dream. And the thing that sucks, man, I wish I had a friend with me that was there, that was like a lot bigger and stronger than me to like wrestle me to the ground and knock me out or something like that. But I was like one of the biggest guys there, so like nobody was about to like detain me for real, But so I head outside, and I'm like, well, I gotta go, and time for me to leave. And so fortunately my friends have my keys and stuff, so it was cool. But I can't believe I'm telling you guys this, but so I make it outside and I end up like wrestling with my friends or something at some point. But then I see the garage door that they have, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh, I'm in a lucid dream. I'm about to charge towards this door, this garage door, and I'm going to phase through this door, and I'm gonna be in a new place. You know, I'm gonna be in a new place. I'm gonna be flying, because I'll do that in a lucid dream. I would see a wall, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm gonna go run and phase through this wall, and I'll be flying somewhere, right? Didn't happen, and I destroyed the garage door, right? And I was unharmed by the garage. Like, I literally destroyed the garage door and then walked off. Like, oh, that didn't work. Okay, well, what's next? And this is where things went south. After that, I was like, well, that didn't work, so I guess I'll just run home like the Flash. I'm in a dream. I can run just as fast as the Flash. I'm in a dream. So I start running. I mean, running. Fast, sprinting. Like Usain Bolt type shit. Like I was gone. And I remember running, and next thing you know, nothing. Darkness. And next thing you know, I'm waking up in the hospital. And not only am I waking up in the hospital, I'm waking up in the hospital with 2 missing teeth. These teeth right here are not real. My teeth broke. I was running, and I guess I fell. I fell. And I fell so hard, I scorpioned. So I fell like this, and I went boom, and my back went over like this, flat on my face. Got a couple scars on my elbows. This is from childhood. I fell through a glass table, but this scar right here, this scar right here is from it. And as well as I had to get staples in here, rip my lip, and I really damaged my back. And then for a while I had some lower back problems. And so with that being said, that trip went horribly wrong. Now, there were a lot of I don't regret any of it, because it made me who I am today. And, you know, I gained a lot of wisdom from that trip. My perceptions and getting to understand how thoughts work on a deeper level. You know, and for about a month and a half, I had to walk around with no teeth right here. And this was at the height of my business. I had started a business, a network marketing business, in which I was doing presentations, networking, meeting all these people. And I'm going around doing presentations, with missing teeth. So that was a very great lesson for me, to have to interact with people and to share with people my vision for my future, or a dream that I had, and expect them not to judge me based on my appearance. I did a lot of ego dismantling after that, and I definitely had an ego death trip in that experience. You know, there was a time where I completely forgot who I was, didn't know who I was. I saw all the people that have had an impact on my consciousness and my personality. There was moments in the trip in which they came through clearly. There was a point where I was my dad. Like there was I was experiencing myself as my dad. There was a time where I was Will Smith. Will Smith has had like an influence on me growing up. I've always kind of like felt like, you know, he favored a part of, you know, me. He's like, you know, I can relate to Will Smith in a way, you know, and I felt like him on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you know. There was a moment where I was channeling Elliot Holtz. He's the guy who inspired me to start my own YouTube channel. That trip really helped me psychoanalyze myself. And since that trip, my self-awareness, not self-consciousness, like my self-awareness has been tripled and quadrupled, and you know, and I'm so grateful for that, you know. So and probably one of the most impactful moments that I had on that trip in a positive way was I also had a moment where I forgot who I was, but then I remembered who I was. And when I remembered who I remembered who I was as God. I remembered that I am part of God. I remembered that God is part of me. I remembered that I have no reason to fear. I have nothing to fear. I remembered there's no point in me doubting my ability. I remembered that I have angels. I remembered that if I choose to get out of the way, I can allow something beautiful and great to come through. And in experiencing that, I've never experienced such a certainty in my life, such an energetic surge in my life. In experiencing that, now I have a reference point. So I can go back to that feeling. I know what it feels like to get my mind out of the way, to get my ego out of the way, and to allow myself to be a vessel for God, and to allow myself to be a vessel for the universe to come through and do its work. And so I'm so grateful for that experience. So what I intended and intend for this video to be is a balanced perception of psychedelics for people. You know, you can have a bad trip. You can also have an extraordinary trip. What you want to do to avoid what happened to me is make sure you're in the environment for it first off. You know, it's best to be maybe with one other person. I was like 7 or 8 other people, so that's a lot of energy to process and to be around. And the environment is very important. You're in the home you're in, or maybe outside in nature. You know, go somewhere in nature where the vibration is pure. Nature is pure, you know, and there was a lot of lingering energies in the home that were negative. Some of them were positive as well, but a lot of negative ones as well, and that affected my trip. Don't do as much as I did. 5 grams is a lot. And if we were educated on them instead of on the usage of psychedelics in our society, then I would have known better. So do your research, and don't do so many freaking shrooms, because that can be overwhelming. Now 5 grams it isn't always too much, but for the environment and where I was at, it was too much. So maybe if I was in a room by myself, or a room with one loved one that I know is there for me and is good vibes, then 5 grams would have been appropriate, and I probably would have had a very profound trip. I would have dove deep. So do your research behind this. But I personally believe that psychedelics can be a very, very profound and useful tool for the human race. They should not be illegal. But the reason they are is because of Big Pharma, right? They want to make their money. I probably shouldn't even be saying this on here. They're probably gonna flag my video or something, but it's incredible how something so impactful and powerful, something that I believe psychedelics can rid people of depression. It can help people with psychological damage, with emotional trauma. They're they're the teacher plant, very healing and very useful if done properly. But society would rather you pay for artificial drugs that are experimental, and they can profit off of them. So they demonize things like psilocybin mushrooms, and they demonize things like ayahuasca, and then they glorify the artificial drugs that are on television, which is just immoral, completely. It's just jacked up. But so I hope this video gave you guys a pretty well-rounded experience. Maybe I don't think I'll put up a picture of the teeth. When I took pictures when it happened, I looked a hot mess, dog. But it was a very, very good experience, and I've had one other trip since then, and it was actually fairly recent, and that one was the most life-changing experience I've ever had. And so if you guys enjoy this video, maybe I'll make a video talking about this most recent trip that I had. So like this video, comment, tell me what you think, share it or not share it. I don't know. Do I want people to know that? I don't know. I'm here to serve, so it's not really about my image. It's more so about, hopefully, this can lead people in the right direction and away from, a bad trip, man. But that was shrooms gone wrong and right. Much love, y'all.